There we go. All right. Good afternoon slash evening, everyone. This is Dr. Samuel Bardo, the Executive Director, CEO, and agent of SL Models and Talent Agency, right now existing in 3 locations in the Midwest, East, and in Chattanooga. So in Grand Rapids, Michigan area, also in the Chattanooga area, and in the Atlanta metro area. We will soon be in LA, as well as in the Mid-Atlantic region as well. We'll tell you more about that as time gets closer. I hope everyone had a very enjoyable day, because down here, wow, was it amazing. We were like near 80 degrees today. Perfect weather. Sun is shining. It's an excellent day for sure. And we had some meditation and some great sponsors that we were lifting up, while also lifting up SLMTA. So I want to thank you on that one as well. Thank you for those who have subscribed. And we are still getting those subscriptions coming in. If you have not subscribed yet, consider doing so at SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. That's a gold icon with the red ring around it. Yes, that is it's SLMTA on YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/SLMTA, excuse me. And then we are on our website, obviously, at www.slmta-agency.com. We are still in the process of doing some major updates on the website, but we was able to publish a little bit of it. So that's what you all got right now. We are going to be uploading photos and our roster there up very, very soon. So hold your pants on, because it's coming. We're only gonna showcase photos on our screen on our website. We are not going to put the whole full roster up. That is going to only be for those who are in the Dreamers division. You will definitely know if you're in the Dreamers division, because we will end up connecting you there. Anyway, so if you are interested in wanting to know how to get involved in the industry, if you have an inkling of becoming an actor, dancer, singer, songwriter, model, you can definitely join us. You go to www.slmta-agency.com, and you would be able to sign up right there on the home page, or you can go to the tabs at the top, read the information on becoming model, and then in the drop down you can actually fill out the online application right online. Those of you that are experienced, if you're interested in a non-exclusive contract with representation with the agency here, you can do so. We would need your resume, bio, portfolio, and or reel. And if you are a recording artist, obviously something of like a video, music video or something to that sort, that we would be able to see you in action. But we will definitely still schedule a 20-minute consultation with you as well, mainly just to kind of get an idea of what you're looking for the agency to do, and that we know that it's you that is actually submitting the information to us, because there are a lot of interesting people out there that we will be talking about tonight. Tonight's not really going to be that much of a long interactive show, and in fact, I'm actually wanting to get done a little bit early tonight. Tomorrow we have a very busy day, bookings all the way across. We have We have auditions that are coming in left and right as well. I will not be online at all come tomorrow. So this is going to be like our last bit for today and tomorrow, but we will be back at it on Thursday for sure. So we have a lot of business items to tend to come tomorrow for sure. Okay, if you're interested in wanting to become part of the SLMTA community, you can do so in a few ways. We are looking for sponsors. Our sponsor can sign up at www.slmta-agency.square.site/SLMTA-sponsorships. That is our sponsorship, our online sponsorship program. If you're interested in wanting to be a community member and you are not a corporate, but you still feel like you want to participate, you can also do so at www.patreon.com/SLMTA. We are on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/SLMTA. And we are on Twitter at basically at SL Models. Okay. Instagram SLMTA_models. And we are also on YouTube where you can actually find us on there now. And you could actually subscribe if you would like to, because that is where a lot of our VIP interactive shows will be. Our night interactive shows will always be live on all the platforms, but you want to be sure that that you are still subscribed to our YouTube channel, SL Models and Talent Agency LLC, because that is where we're going to be having our game shows, bingo nights, VIP concert, virtual concerts, virtual competitions. Everything is going to be set up via Zoom related to YouTube. There are some things that we will not do via Facebook, because even if we could put them live, I'm going to guarantee you that there's going to be some issues with them where they would shut the video off because of quote unquote copyright. But like we had to do today, we had to explain to YouTube that we had permission with various different we put everything in information, so if you read more you'll actually see that there's credits for different channels, credits for different licenses that we have, etc. But some people just don't read, and they just see and look and they're like, oh yeah, they're doing this or this. So we want to cover a topic on copyright, because there are some folks out there that are really getting this confused. And I also want to talk about some of the issues about copywriting on your own self. Oh yeah, that's still a thing. Some people don't even realize it. In fact, a lot of artists out there don't realize when they are actually doing copyright infringement on themselves. So that's kind of the topic that we're going to focus on tonight, to keep you out of trouble. But also there are some things that you actually have a right to do. But again, back to what it boils down to, is who is in charge of the rights, who's in charge of trying to do whatever to cause the commotion that it is, and what is their fear that's initiating from all of us, because that's technically what a lot of this is. It's a fear of this person is remaking something and making money off of it, pretty much is what the fear is. And so you really can't recreate someone else's things. At the same time, you also want to give credit where credit is due. Okay, so we're going to talk about those situations in a moment, because even if you have permission, there are specific ways that you have to give the right credit and where it should be shown. Okay. Okay, so let's continue on. Anyway, so you have the information about what is happening. Now let me give you a couple of activities that are going to be coming up, and then we're going to get into our topic. Our spring fling extravaganza and our kids showcase extravaganza is coming up on April 15th. This is going to be a big competition online. And we already, from what I'm gathering, we are already getting people interested in wanting to submit for this. Again, the submission rate is $100. It is very, very inexpensive compared to other actual competitions that are out there. And there are various prizes for the top #1, depending on the genre of where you're at. And I'm going to do a whole video on these things because for the children, for example, we have it age 5 to 11, and then we have 12 to 16, and then we have, or to 17, and then we have 18 to 25. Okay, so there's like a thing for young adults in there, and they're actually in with these individuals will be in with the adult, but it will specifically say that you will submit as a young adult. Okay, and then we will have those trendsetters that will go in on the 25 plus. And we also have a spot there for seniors as well, which would be 65 and over. All right, so that's where we are at right now as far as the competition is concerned. We got everything pretty much split perfect in shape. There is no different in prices because it's already been difficult enough to actually get this set up. So we wasn't gonna have like, oh, this is $100, this is $50, that's $20, and this and that. So we made it one price. However, our top winners, like for the dancing competition, our top winner will actually be going to Disney, and we'll be able to, we are going to have a dance club that we are going to start with SL Models and Talent Agency. And we will be doing dance number and actually going to Disney. Well, Disney actually we've been partnering with Disney with this for a long time. They have these competitions at Disney where you actually can showcase your style and dance and competition. And then they also have awards for their competitions as well. So if you want exposure, folks, this is what it is. We're bringing it right back. If you're a dancer, then you would basically fit that role. There are many other, excuse me, wow. There are many other programs that we have that are going on that we're bringing back to SL Models and Talent Agency. That is very, very slowly coming back together now with the changes of the CDC guidelines and that, but we are definitely not getting rid of virtual. Most of our auditions for specific roles and things will happen online still. If you are international, you can still audition online. So we have a lot going on in regards to our programming with SL models and talent agencies. So we have 4 divisions. So we have our Dreamers division. We actually have our kids division, and in our kids division, we actually have 3 divisions in that. We have our kids dreams division. We have our emerging kids division, and then we have our elite kids division. All right. And then with the adults, we have our Dreamers division. We have our emerging division. We have our unionized division. And then we have our well, not exactly pros. Our pros are fitting in between emerging and elite. Okay. We'll talk about that in a minute. But our superstar supermodels division, we actually will have. And that's the one that we're setting a website up on right now, to where some of them may not want us to even represent them. Some of them might just want to use us for other specific services. Others would rather inquire SLMTA to actually provide the services for them in the booking and etc. Work with the team and the management team and that kind of thing. And of course, we've talked about that enough already for you to actually know that a manager is different from an agent. And if you're in the wrong state, you might end up getting in trouble if you do not have the right licenses to do business. We don't tattletale, but we do audit. There's a difference. Auditing basically means, like, how long have you been doing this for? If you're going to tell me that you were doing it for like 25 years, the same type of thing, and this is what you've been doing, and you saying the system worked. So what that's telling me is that you just admitted that you committed fraud for 25 years, and that you didn't get caught for 25 years, and that during those 25 years, you were making money on a deceptive way. That's basically what you're saying to me. And then at the same time, it does spawn an IRS audit, because how do we not know if you're actually paying the right taxes and things like that? If you're already being deceptive about business, how do we not know where you're hiding the money in the long run? So you have that situation that's going on as well. You know, this scenario about money, I should just do a topic on that, and I may do that on Thursday. Just call it money, 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 you know, like the song or whatever. Because there is an issue where there are people that are too focused on actually making money, but do you actually know where business derives from? I mean, let's think about that. Most people know that it takes money to make money anyway. So that's a given. But where business derives from is really about your creative innovativeness. So if you're trying to say that you had created something, and for 25 years, this thing is a proven system that had worked, and yet we had found out that you were nothing but a fraud, then what you're saying is that you have committed a fraudulent business. That's basically what that's saying. There is no other way of putting it. I mean, there are various ways that we could put it. We could sit here and say you know, you can sit here and blame me for claiming that you're shady, but if you can run as fast as I'm saying a word, then maybe there's there is definitely a guilty conscience there. Okay. There is no reason why a person that is going to be 100% true to their word is going to flat out, and of course they say that it's negative. That's the excuse. Remember the excuses I was explaining to you coming from my book, that these and we still have topics to talk about on this, by the way. If you thought that this was stepping on toes, you hadn't seen nothing yet. I was just giving it a little bit of a break because, you know, it's a lot to digest at one time. But make a long story short, like the big excuse that you're gonna have is that you'd rather find a reason to run and say that it's somebody else rather than realizing that you're the issue. The good news here with Dr. Samuel Lombardo at SL Models and Talent Agency LLC is that regardless of what you decide to do, I'm going to call you out anyway. So it doesn't matter what way you actually go about it. Now you could say that it's a lie, that I'm nothing but a sham in your own way, but in the truth of the matter is, rather than arguing about who's doing what and how it's being done, really the best way to handle this issue is let's see how long people last in your organization. Because it's one thing to be truthful and say you have nothing and that you can't do nothing, but that you are building up to that potential. Than it is to say that you have everything and you are everything and that you've been there and everywhere and hadn't done nothing. Because then that's what makes people extremely skeptical. All right. I have been skeptical with agencies and organizations that run like that because, you know, I'm already skeptical enough to know, could I actually be an actor, for example? Could I literally actually be an actor? You know, I could. Sometimes, like today, I'm not acting like I'm tired. I'm actually tired. You know, I've done a lot today, more than you think, but you know, excuse me, you know, I'm tired, but I can act it too. I could be like, oh man, oh, you know what? Oh, I tell you what, I'm done. Oh my goodness, it's still going on. I'm done today. I'm sorry. I'm too tired. I'm through with this. And then I sit there and I'm like, sorry, you know, because I'm not actually tired. Like I can act, believe me. You'd be surprised what I could do. I'm gonna actually do a couple improvs. This is our nightly interactive show anyway. So come on in and chit chat if you'd like. Say hello, whatever. That is fine. Um, but the thing about the first thing I want to mention is because I got to bring this thing about trademark. Trademark is just as important as copyright. Copyright is just all over the place. And this is an issue where record labels and everybody are just getting away with whatever. They're making laws stand out in all different kind of places where they don't even fit, and you can't do this, but you can do that, and this is how you're going to do that. So this is going to go like this and this. And I'm just sitting there like, you know what? My God, if I have to sit down and figure out every single detail about what is going on, the entertainment industry, believe it or not, is actually a bit more difficult than people put it out to be. And if you are just an actor, for example, or you're a singer and songwriter, you have no clue what the people in the office are doing. You may have just a slight possibility, but if you don't know entertainment law, if you don't know the entertainment industry as a whole, even to know your own genre as a whole within that perspective of it, like say like a pop singer versus a rap singer, you know, in the as an artist, singer, songwriter genre of the entertainment industry, if you don't know these different things, then you're going to be sitting there trying to negotiate contracts that actually literally could nearly make no sense. Like you could be sitting there like talking to an agent, like the agent wants to actually I get a kick out of this with some of these new folks, and it is true too. Some of these new folks, they need a little bit of entertainment law 101. They really do. Because they're sitting there like, but I don't want a record label. I'm not gonna sign with you. And I'm sitting there like, a record label? what are you talking about? I don't have a record label. I own a record label, but it has nothing to do with it doesn't have anything to do with SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. So I'm a little bit lost. Then we have these ones that come in verbatim. Okay, they just come in, and every so often, because like I said, I wrote a book and this and that, and they will call me every so often. This is a producer, by the way, that does this. And it's not too far from Chattanooga either. Like literally could probably come to the door and like, you know, but no, I'm going to just call you at random times like 10:30, 11:30, midnight at night, talking about, did you finish your book? You know, and then the minute that I start talking, it sounds like a joke to them. I'm like, dude, you need to take it serious. Do you want to start a record? First of all, if you're going to start a record label, you better have some financials that go with it. Because technically speaking, what you're saying is that you have the right operations, you have the right licenses to be able to do things. See, here's the other thing you got to be careful of, because I'm seeing it happening right at my back doorstep, where this person is literally trying to figure out how to do something. He wants to know the rules from me, and I'm giving him the rules. You know why I'm giving them? Because if I find out that the rules aren't being played, then basically I know that he was just looking for information so I could get around the actual rules to go and try to find ways to scam people. And that's what's going on right now. I got a few people that are actually doing this with me, where they're like asking me questions every so often, and then they'll back off and then they'll like say, hey, you know. So now what I do is I don't say nothing. I literally don't. And then I tell them, look, you need to pay for my consulting time. If you want to come to my consulting firm, we'll sit and we'll actually talk about this, because it's taking time out of my day to be sitting here talking to you. Plus, you're not even taking it serious. You're going and doing the opposite thing anyway. So if you're going to go and do the opposite thing, then how am I supposed to work with you? You're going to find yourself getting locked up, or maybe going, you know, and paying a big hefty fine because of you not getting the exact rights. Because, you know, even record labels, okay, and I didn't mention this last night, I'm going to mention it now. Even record labels, because it fits with the copyright law, okay, even record labels still has to have very specific licenses in order to be able to run their companies, because you can't just all of a sudden be like, I'm going to own your masters without actually showing proof that you have any kind of authority to be able to do it. But there are some of these new folks out there that think because they know how to be a producer that they want to be a record label. Like they're coming to me saying, how do I start a record label? First thing I tell them is research your licenses. No, seriously, that's what I tell them. I'm not going to sit there and tell them what they need, because that's just taking time out of my spot. So I'm very, very general when I explain that. I tell them, you need to figure out what licenses you need. Oh, I know what I need. I need to go with BMI and ask privacy. So that's what they sign, right? I'm like, look, that's just the beginning phase. And in order for you to quote unquote say that you're a record label, to actually go to BMI like that and all that, basically what you're saying is that you're trying to prove to other people that you have the authority to be able to do what you're doing. So you're licensed, you got everything going on. So BMI would be assuming that position, but they're not there for that. As a matter of fact, what they're there for, that's the songwriter's position. As a producer, you're the one that creates the masters. You got to know what real license you need. And I'm not going to sit there, and I'm not even going to put this out there tonight, because that's not even the purpose of this. The purpose of this show tonight is really about copyright. But the reason that I'm bringing this up in any shape or form is because you got to be careful. There are people out there that will sham you so fast it's not even funny. And they will do it. They're very sly. That's why you need an agency like SLMTA or, and some other, I mean, unless you're a model or whatnot, then you could get with Next, Elite, Bohemia, and places like that. But like SLMTA is a full service national agency that is specifically for all genres of the entertainment industry. So we are basically open to everything. We're probably one of the first actual agencies to be national related on a level to handle singers and songwriters, especially in this scope, dealing with, hey, I was gonna say something mean, but I slowed it down, believe me, because sometimes I could be a little mean. I could be really, really mean. But with all the nonsense that is out there, you really do need an agency like this. So a lot of people think, oh no, it's the record label. You need a record label. But let me tell you something. The record label also does not have the license to go ahead and book you. They may, I mean, depending on the 360 deals or whatnot, but if they don't have an actual license for where they can run as an agency, then they're still running illegally, even though that they're a record label. So don't let record label actually be like, oh, that's the sum up of everything. Oh, no, it isn't. Record label typically is just simply this. They are the P with the circle, not the C with the circle. They are the ones that produce and manufacture your music. Okay, and the big difference on a record label versus a producer is that a producer, record labels should also have mechanical licenses or whatnot, but record labels actually are able to provide full services to a singer and songwriter, where a producer is focused on the mechanical parts of the music, period. That's it. So you would actually have to get in and find like a publicity team and things like that to be able to keep things flowing. Now, with SL Models and Talent Agency LLC, what we have is called a full service 360 agency deal. Now, you're probably wondering, what the heck is that? That's everything from, if you're a singer-songwriter, that is the opposite of what the 360 deal is of a record label, because A, we don't have a license. We cannot go make your CDs or whatever and keep the masters and own them and all this. But what we could do is we could have an agreement that is similar to like what Epidemic's Sound does, which is holds the rights to your music as we are work for hire. And the 360 deal is basically making sure that everything else is covered under the agency. Okay, because you're still going to have to get somebody to cover the masters, unless you could do it yourself. Make sure that this microphone is pointing in the right direction. I actually have two microphones to be able to kill off some of that background stuff that's still going on out there. All right. Basically, what SL Models and Talent Agency LLC wants to do specifically for singer-songwriters, since we're on this topic right now, is we want to make sure that you are safe to your rights. That's really the slogan right there, that you are safe to your rights. And yes, I do own up to it. That's our slogan. And what we mean by you are safe to your rights is the fact that what that singer-songwriter wants the agency to do is what we will do. But at the same time, we also make sure that they're running into agreements that will be appropriate for what that singer-songwriter's goal is. Okay. 9 times out of 10, if you know that you're going to become very, very, very big, like I'm talking about, like, you know, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Alicia Keys type big, then yeah, you would deal with record label, but it would be up to you. You have your brand and you would be telling them what you are worth, not the other way around, because they basically know what their worth is, and if they're going to finance it right up front instead of dealing with the whole advance system, then the only thing that they could really have a right to is the masters. Now, here's the real question, because it hasn't been found anywhere, and I've done research on this, and I told you I was going to promise you to do this research. I even asked a couple of lawyers about this, but I'm still speaking to figure this part out. But thus far, I have not found out any information whatsoever on just because they may have the masters, that they may have the rights to the masters, that they basically are in charge of your life. In other words, that isn't there a way to work with actual record labels without it being that they have to own you and that it is your stuff. You know what I mean? That it is your property. Because what I also noticed is that it goes back now to, that's production rights, okay? Then it goes all the way to copyright. And the copyright, oh my God, it's all kinds of funny stuff going on with that. Like they'll find a video that has 43 seconds of a song in there that probably came from Epidemic's sound, which it did. That's why I'm saying that. And then they make a big deal out of that with the assumption that that they own that song. Well, the part that I'm trying to get at is, do they own how the song is being done, or are they own with the song for the production? In other words, the copyright has to make sense to the company to what's really actually happening. Now, I could sit there and let's say I'm singing a song, I'm doing a cover, right? Apparently, the artist's okay to sing the cover. Here's how backwards this actually is. The artist's okay to sing a cover, but if I were to go and put the lyrics, I just put them up here as I'm talking about them, that would be actually against the law under Harry Fox, BMI, and all that, okay? Why? Because I'm taking somebody else's words and I'm just putting them up there. They're not my words, right? Well, then you have the other issue that the minute that you have that same artist that's doing a cover, doing a live performance, you have to be the one to get the license to be able to provide that. But then the question is, and this is a really good question, okay? What happens in between that with the cover artist and up to the point that it's being, that he or she is being booked? Because in the long run, yeah, the venue or what have you is going to make some money from the actual deal with the agency, but the reality is the one making the money is still going to be the artist. So if the artist is not making money from his or her own music, would that not be a copyright issue? Well, according to Sony and them, apparently it's not. It's when they actually go out to perform. So the venues actually have to get a live performance license, but these folks that are actually doing covers, there's no liability, even though that the reality of it. So in other words, what I'm getting at is, and this is where ANCA comes in at. Yeah, there's going to be some changes there. Because do you see the red tape that's all over that? You don't know how many artists, you don't know who's actually claiming to be an artist and who's not either. They'll say, I'm a cover artist and I want to collaborate, and then turn around and take that song and they'll 1 minute they'll say, oh, I own up to that song, that's my song. And then it's up to them if they actually want to perform it with you or perform it with anything to do with you. You see what I'm saying? And then there's all this money involved. Like they're dictating a price of something that's technically not even theirs. And then you have the venue that is responsible to be getting that license, but the artist is actually making all the money. In the background, the artist would be the one actually making the money on this. And from what I understood, any actual real artist, the original artist of the master recording, wow, I'm wondering where Sony and all of them are coming in at with this. apparently there's not much going on with that. And I've been looking and looking and looking, and I have not yet seen anything. So I believe that is a huge red tape scenario right there. And it also means that the wrong people are being held responsible for the actual license. Now, I do believe that there is some part of a license that needs to be given to the cover artist. He or she should be responsible to have those permissions from the original productions, right? And then if they do, that's one thing. Okay, great, fine. We cover that part of it. But then the question would have to be, if they got the permission, now we got the red tape between when the permission was given to them and what happens with the venues. See, and the venues are spending a lot of money like crazy, because some of them have to spend money for licenses anyway, relating to just playing music within the venue, you know, which is typical. That's what you would do, you know. But then the question is, if you're doing a live performance with a cover singer, then I have there's a little bit of skepticism with me on that. Now, that's not to say that is something that you could fight about. All you could do is literally either bring it to the attention of the court or bring it to the attention of legislation, which is what ANGPA is actually preparing to do, to be able to resolve any issues that could come from that. I believe that there should be a bit of awareness and fairness between both parties. The one that actually is going to use cover music, like be a cover artist, and the ones who are actually requesting a license, because if they already have the license to perform the music, to play the music, that license is already there. But the problem is because they're going to bring a cover singer, that is, the real singer, to sing their songs or whatnot. It's a very, very, very tricky, touchy situation. Like, things actually, now you see why copyright is actually a difficult situation. It's not an easy scenario. And if I don't even know partially some of the things, and I have lawyers, you know, that I could speak with and ask questions with, then, you know, the average person starting out, and it doesn't matter if you are a top whatever to anything, unless you actually know really the law, the entertainment industry as a whole, okay, so that you could be able to negotiate correctly. That's the terms. See, I should really switch this topic, but it's too late to do. It should be copyright and negotiation, because really what I'm doing is I'm trying to help you guys to understand how to negotiate, because negotiations really and truly work hand in hand with copyright. Especially if you're going to come to me and you're like a cover singer, and then you will say, I'm going to request this, this, and this. Well, we will normally set the price, because a cover singer, it just, I'm sorry to say that, so the cover singer is like someone singing someone else's music, and you're putting your twist to it. So, you know, I'm focused on the fact that that's what we need to do. I have a very important phone call that I'm gonna answer right now, and I'll be right with you. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. That was a phone call right in the middle of my live. How do you like that? How do you like that? All right, right in the middle of the live feed. In any case, and it was good news. I'm still kind of finagling with taxes here in the United States, for those of you that are wondering about that. So I was doing a bit of a multitasking here a minute ago. I want to stop. I think it's a perfect time to do that. I want to stop and say, if you have not had a chance to subscribe, please go ahead and subscribe at our YouTube channel, SL Models and Talent Agency LLC. Now, some of you might be like, what's the need? I'm online here on Facebook. Do I have to be on Facebook and subscribe to YouTube? Here's the thing, okay? If you're actually just seeing me on a Facebook page, and I might be changing this all the way around because I think that's what's actually confusing that. Folks, the reason that I'm doing interactive shows, SLMTA at night on all platforms, is to give you a chance to actually go ahead and find me on YouTube. Okay, this isn't a scenario that basically, you know, you're gonna be seeing events that I'm planning on having on a Facebook. It's not going to show up on Facebook. I promise you that. And when you start, and when I start giving you video footages of specific things happening, you're going to be like, man, I wish I was there. So before you get into that situation, and I'm giving you the links, I'm sitting here telling you that. It's just as simple as going in there and spelling out S as in Sierra, L as in Limo, SL Models, and the N symbol. Okay, SL Models and Talent Agency LLC. I am the gold icon with the red ring around it. You can't miss it. And yeah, that is us. You can subscribe there. I'm not trying to push people to subscribe, but the thing is that when we are going to be doing much bigger things than what you have been seeing here. And I am developing more things too along the way. So there's a lot that's going to be happening. And, you know, this SLMTA at night, I don't even know if this is going to be a show that's going to stick around, because a lot of our contests are going to be around this time. Okay. And if that's the case, I may not even be on live at all on Facebook. So if you want to interact, you're going to have to get the YouTube channel and subscribe there. Okay. That's basically what I'm saying. So don't get too used to Facebook. Okay. Facebook is good. You can comment there, but you want to subscribe to SL Models and Talent Agency LLC on YouTube, because that's where we're going to be doing a lot of our things that we have planned. All right. And after the show is done, then we're going to go ahead and we may share it on Facebook, but we're only going to share clips. We're not going to actually share the whole, because what we're doing is we're going to be, some of the stuff we're going to be putting on like Android TV, iOS TV, well, iHeart TV, iHeart Radio, if it's dealing with music. We're going to be dealing with Twitch and all that. Like this is stuff that Facebook can't do. And the minute that they hear just one thing at all, they would just block the video anyway out of curiosity, because they're thinking it's something to do with copyright, even though that Facebook, or excuse me, even though that YouTube has the licenses. So that's why I'm able to do more things on YouTube where Facebook I cannot. So again, make sure that you are subscribed on YouTube so that you're not missing out on any of the action whatsoever. At the worst case scenario, if you are seeing me on Facebook while you're on YouTube, then don't sit around on YouTube, just watch us on Facebook. That's fine. But at least then if you hit the notifications bell, you'll at least know, oh, this is an actual event. And you will know when it's an event because we're going to say SLMTA event, and it's going to be bolded, it's going to be broad, and then it's going to actually show what the event is. Okay. So you will be able to see what is happening and if it's going to be on a Facebook thing. And then give it about 10 minutes after that, you'll probably realize, oh, yeah, I just missed 10 minutes of the show. Now, the good news about me is that I have advertisements in the beginning. In the advertisements, they usually take about 15 minutes. So if you don't want to hear the first 15 minutes, so I wouldn't blame you if you already hear the same stuff over and over again, especially those of you that know who I am. I'm not expecting you to sit there on YouTube and listen to 15 minutes of the same stuff that I always talk about, you know, in the beginning of every show. But this is going to be a hot topic tonight. It is a very big topic tonight about copyright, and that's why I wanted to go ahead and explain this in detail. And by the way, it probably won't even get finished tonight because copyright is a huge topic. It's not just a big topic or a hot topic. It is a huge topic and can be very well confused very easily. It really can. There are those who are independent artists that don't know what their rights are. Even we got that whole thing. We hadn't even talked about that. We won't even get there tonight because we got everything else happening. But once you know what your rights are, then you'll know how to negotiate in a way that you could speak to agencies and venues and things like that as an independent artist. What I will say though is be careful of these gimmicks that are online where they are, in fact, I don't think they're doing it as much. I think they realize I caught on to it because I have actually put an anonymous tip out there. I hadn't heard anything about it since I did that. But there were these girls coming on talking about how would you like to know how to do your own music for less than $1, and then they're asking you for $19.99 to like buy 14,000 different contacts. I mean, really, first of all, if it's not overwhelming, the big thing is that they probably, like, say you're from LA, at the very least, you're going to look for LA. You're not going to sit there and go through even 1,000 of those names to sit there and finally realize, oh, there's LA. So, and believe me, I actually on purpose, not because I'm dumb, but it was because I was actually interested in all those contacts. There's a purpose and reason. So I actually bought the plan and I'm using the plan for my own advantage. I actually took it and then I do. But the one thing that I will tell you is that they're not lined up in any real order. It's just this contact, that contact. It's not in state and city order, like, you know, say like Alaska, Arkansas, you know, something like that, what are in order. And then you have the cities and the counties and all that. So there ain't nothing like that. It's just like 1-800 this, 1-800 that, this email, this name, that name, and the other name. Even the names that are listed within those companies are not even in alphabetical order. It was like they just took something from a Google search and just went like, And I figured, well, shoot, I don't have to look for those record labels. So I'll pay the $19. What the heck? And that's why I did it. So I paid the $19 so I wouldn't have to worry about it. And now I got 14,000 different clients because of that girl. So thank you, ladies out there that are trying to sell 14,000 different contacts. Said no, that, you know, and you got to know how to even speak to the individuals. You know, it's just like, it's just, okay, this is what I see it as. Hey, buddy, look, guess what? I got these contacts for you. And then they just take this whole chopper keeper and just throw it at you on the desk. And you're like, holy smokes. What am I going to do with this? No way. So yeah, and I am actually preparing to do a radio channel as well, and we are developing an app. Now the app is going to have both upcoming movies where we're going to collaborate with producers and whatnot, where those new movies, instead of it being where people have to go in I don't even think there's a such thing as a black market anymore, but if it was, you don't have to do that, but you would have to pay a fee to actually see those upcoming shows. Unfortunately, that is the truth because, you know, but you get to watch movies, you get to hear new songs and everything else. So you're going to have different genres and things like that. If it's TV shows, talk shows, I would like to do at least once a week where I'm actually hosting a talk show. And it would also be on a like iHeartRadio type of thing or some kind of radio channel, but I'm preparing myself for that. I'm not necessarily doing that right now. Okay. So these are things that you're going to be seeing me growing into as the time goes on, just on a side note. Okay. On the business end with SL Models and Talent Agency, my goal is to get you guys out there that know how to run agencies and you're tired. Listen to that. You are sick and tired of agencies trying to scam people. And this is literally what you keep telling me. Then if you're financially stable and you're in the entertainment industry and you want to start a business that actually has true value to the artists that are involved in this industry, then SLMTA is a good spot to be. Okay, but to be a regional officer, you're going to be earning your own commissions. Okay, basically it would be about 30% every month. Or excuse me, not 30%, excuse me, 30% goes to the hub office every month. 20% is paid to you, and then the other pieces go back into SLMTA as an agency in your office. So if you don't think that you made enough that month after the actual profits are concerned, then what you want to do is you want to put your money back into it. It would be considered equity. So then you're putting equity then into the company. Okay. I'm going to explain those in the training. You know, if this is something that you want to do, but you have to be a business owner. I'm not looking for somebody to try to tell me, oh, I'm looking for $25 an hour. That's not what this is. This is somebody this is somebody who knows how to run a business that would want to come to me and say, hey, SLMTA would do very good, say, in Chicago, right? I really believe in your mission. You're saying it like it is. SLMTA means business, whatever, right? And then it's like, okay, you know, for you to get the rights to the business is $5,000 that you pay to the hub business, which is in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And then you would basically have to get your license. If we're using Chicago as an example, all right, you would have to get your business license, your business registration. It would be a foreign LLC. Okay, now once we get enough regional officers together, then we'll be able to actually talk about a board and whether or not we should incorporate into a better situation than an actual LLC. All right, or even developing the LLC into the next step, which would be a partnership. If we did that, that would also be great as well. But the thing is that you got to be business minded. You also got to know how to be creative to bring the income in. You have to know the rules and regulations of what a agency does. You have to know what licenses you need to run. You have to have the money to be able to consult that, because again, this is your office. You want to open it up, okay? So if you're coming to me literally with $15 an hour and you're literally saying, I don't have this kind of money, but I'm interested in doing, I'm going to tell you, well, when your financial situation is better, then come back to us, because we cannot waste time with someone that is not going to be able to dedicate their time into SLMTA. You have to make this really be serious. This would probably be someone who is an investor that is trying to seek change in the industry to where there's a lot of stuff going on. This could be a retiree that basically has experience in the industry as a whole. It could even be a lawyer. Oh yeah, I had one who was a lawyer that was asking me about this. And it's very possible that we could be working hands in hand with opening an office. I'll tell you where, but I'm not going to say now. So basically, it could be a lawyer, it could be a retiree, it could be an educator, it could be anyone, but you basically have to, what I always say is you need at least 25,000 to really get yourself squared away. The bare minimum that I would say is 25,000, but if you have income that it won't take from your income and you have $50,000, okay, that $50,000 will take care of everything that you need for the first year of SL Models and Talent Agency LLC in your office to expand, do all your marketing, publicity, and all that, then great. All right, that's typically what it is. All right, so you'd have to show me that you're financially stable as well. I'm not looking for bank statements. The only statement I'm looking for is that you could prove to me that you got the bare minimum in there. Why? Because it's going to cost you $5,000 for the SLMTA rights that you will be paying to the main hub. Then it's going to cost you probably about $5,000 by the time you get, say, your agents in there. Now, they don't get paid by the hour, they get paid by commission as well, just so that you're aware. But if we use the example Chicago, okay, that person would have to be licensed to be an agent in the agency. The agency would have to be licensed. So whatever it costs in Illinois to register a foreign LLC, and every owner of the LLC would have to be listed. Okay, so it's additional money. Then you got your liability insurance, E&O insurance that you have to get. Then you have to figure out how you're going to get your first running marketing and publicity. What is going to be your first event, things like that. So you're looking at a good $5,000 just right there by itself, and then the $5,000 initially for the rights to SL Models and Talent Agency. the logo and, you know, you actually starting an office and having the rights to use our name or whatnot. It's really the cheapest franchise that is out there. You can't even beat it. The thing is that you do have to have upfront costs. There are upfront costs. Now, I'm not going to sit here and waste my time with people that are saying, well, you're just these negatives, because I did get a couple of them. Well, you're trying to make this multi-marketing, aren't you? No, I'm not. This is not a multi-marketing anything. This is actually straight up franchising, but at the lowest level of a franchise, okay? The bare minimum. A multi-level is somebody that says that you need to pay for this, and you're trying to sell all the same things, and the more that you sell and the more that you bring in, you're helping the person at the top right. The person at the bottom has to work harder to. No, at this point, your original equity is the $25,000 that you paid out. So that $5,000 is going to be something you'll be able to write out on taxes, all your insurances that you're going to have, all of your administrative costs that you're going to have, publicity costs, marketing costs, whatever other costs that you're going to have to run your office will all be tax deductible to you. Okay, so I'm not here to hear the negatives. I don't care about the negatives. Oh, well, how do I know if I'm going to make the investment? Well, then if you're going to ask me that question, then you're technically not business savvy. I'm looking for someone that knows how to do a business and knows how to bring money into the company, not somebody that sits there and watches it just go down to the shit, to the, you know what I mean, down the stream somewhere. I don't know. Wherever you want to say, I almost left a bad word out. And sorry, Lord, for that. You know, you want to be somebody that actually is motivational, okay? That literally can, you know, you're motivating people, because it's not about whether or not you can bring dreamers in and educate them. Not every SLMTA office has to run that way. You could be an SLMTA. In fact, what I really would like for New York and Chicago and LA is for you guys to focus really on the superstar level or on the pro level, because you guys in these cities do not play around. It's just a matter of actually getting getting somebody out there that knows how to do it and is financially stable. At the same point, yes, your monthly commission actually becomes your ownership. But because we're not actually an incorporation, meaning a C Corp or S Corp, you don't really get an ownership yet. But that's going to end up changing, because if we see that we're building momentum with this might be the first agency that even goes on a public level, because we mean business, and not only do we mean business, but it's the only piece of any kind of agency out there besides, and don't get me wrong, there are good agencies out there like Ford, Elite, Wahimia, Next, and them. They're very, very good companies for their models and talent. So I do believe highly and respect highly of them. And they're throughout the country as well, okay? It's just a matter of it's just a matter of you who wants to actually make it work, okay? That's what I'm looking for, is actual regional officers. You'll know who you're gonna hire to be an agent and everything. All right. And hello to Robert Stone. How are you? Thank you for visiting our live stream. This is our SLMTA at night live international. It is international too, but live interactive show. If you have any questions or you want to say something, you can chat as well. And I'll be willing to listen here or whatever I need to do. Okay, so back to our focus, which is copyright. Again, there is one topic that we're not going to be able to get to. There's so much already that's going to happen. But we have spoken about the actual we've spoken about singer-songwriters. Now we're going to talk about, and this also goes for singer-songwriters too, so don't think that you're excluded in this part of it. But pictures, copyrights for pictures. Now, when you're a student in college, anything, it doesn't matter, anything that isn't yours is considered plagiarism. So you'd have to write up a bibliography in the back of the paper, right? Typically, that's what you would do. Okay, now when you're doing pictures, businesses should have photo release forms or some kind of contact with that model and or artist or talent to actually have a permissive statement saying you can or you cannot. Okay. Now, let me explain something. I know I brought this up before, but I'm going to bring it up again because it's very important. In this situation, if you're communicating over the phone and they're saying that you could do this, you could do that, but then it switches up a little bit in writing and you get an email saying that, oh, by the way, it's going to be like this. If you agree to it, it actually becomes null and void what your actual communication on the phone was versus what was actually on the email. Well, the other side of it is because some people say, well, what if I get an email, but I can't sign it? I get these sometimes all the time. Now, I know that by law, that when you answer to the email that is directly communicated to you, and you're saying yes or no or whatever, that you're agreeing or not agreeing to a specific thing that the email was sent for. So in other words, it is something that could be used as a burden of proof in the courts if it was to be a legal scenario and somebody broke a law, so to speak. So let's talk about breaking a law. An example would be that if you're participating in something and you forget to actually credit the actual source, so where it's coming from and what it sounds like it's coming from you and not from the actual source. That is actually a copyright issue. That is a plagiarized scenario. Okay, there are differences between specific terms. So you could plagiarize, but plagiarism is still a type of, it forms from a type of broken copyright agenda. Okay, because you're taking something that somebody else wrote or did already, and you're trying to make it your own, or even if it's not intentional, right? You hear these kind of things every time in school. So when the school is actually telling you not to do certain things, or that you have this big disagreement about plagiarism in college, I'm going to tell you right now, because I'm very big with this, if there is any plagiarism, I give you one chance to fix it. And if it shows up somewhere else, so if it continues to happen, you get a 0. It's incomplete, and you'd have to sit there and still continue to try to, you're going to fix that problem, or you would end up getting an F, is what the bottom line would end up being. Because someone like me, I really don't have time to be sitting there grading bogus papers. I don't. So, and I usually come straight up and forward with that. So, and there are resources to help you realize if you're actually plagiarizing on a paper or not. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you can actually use. So in fact, I even these things to specific students to help them along the way. Why? Because they can, the paper itself would actually digest everything for itself, and you would be able to find the plagiarism spots before you have to send the paper in. Now, of course, colleges have different programs too that would be able to help in that way, depending on what college that you're at and whatnot. But if I'm teaching, say, a master level class or whatnot, you better be sure that you know what plagiarism is from the get-go, because if you don't know what plagiarism is, we might end up having a little bit of a disagreement. Okay. And it's not that I like to give zeros. What I like to do is tell you the reality of what it's going to be out there in the real world if you keep writing like that. Because if you think a F on your transcript is bad, try paying $250,000 copyright fines and or possibly going through imprisonment over a copyright issue. So an F would literally look like, you know, she's pie, okay, compared to what you would get in real life if you were out there doing it. So learn it while you can, and then know that if you can't get away with it in college, you're not getting away with it in the real world either. All right. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not hurting or stepping on anybody's toes, but I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? Wow, man, keep me away from that song. Seriously. Okay. So, gotta have that tea. Let me tell you, it'll keep me up. We're getting ready for that climatic moment now. Okay. Oh man. Okay, so you know, that is what I want you guys to understand. I'm not here to try to talk you down or throw some negative remarks at you. That's just a cheap, that's a cheap shot to do that. What I want you to understand is that it is very important for you to be careful of what information you're using, how you're using it, and all that. Even if you're putting in a bibliography page, by the way. Oh yeah, I actually could tell you this much. Students get so confused with me when I'm looking at papers and I actually see the unintentional plagiarism despite the bibliography being so perfect. You're probably like, what do you mean by that? It's because it's the way that you're actually using it. Okay, like for example, let's say that this is SLMTA at night, right? So you're writing a paper about copyright, all right? And here's Dr. Samuel Lombardo sitting on a live talking about some very important topics about copyright and what you should or should not be doing, okay? So then you're saying like, you may say something along the lines like, so I saw this video and I see this gentleman that's talking about copyright, and I learned that I should not do this, or this. And guess what? As funny as that may sound, that is still unintentional plagiarism, how you actually describe it. What you really need to say is that according to Dr. Samuel Lombardo of SLMTA, a video that I have seen on blah, there are 4 things that I've learned about copyright that we should be careful of doing. Boom, 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 boom. But sometimes we get a little bit, I hate to say it that way, but we get a little bit lazy. And it's just, oh, I saw that guy talking about copyright, and here's 4 things that I've learned. First of all, it's not English, even though that I probably wasn't speaking half of the English myself tonight. I'm literally tired. That's why I got this tea, man. It's keeping me up a little bit. I get the giggles. But yeah, it is very, very important. I'm going to talk a little bit more about copyright, but I think this is probably the spot where I want to stop. And then I might actually pick up where I left off at, because it's very important that students understand what true plagiarism is and what rights you actually have as a writer, even in a college, because there are some things that even a college has to pay attention to that are not necessarily as important as what it looks like, versus that they're focusing on the actual, what they consider is what an actual plagiarism is versus what the actual copyright law is that makes the plagiarism what it is. See the difference? So you kind of have to know both sides of the coin in order to be able to appreciate what you're going to put out there as far as plagiarism and what's not. Some of those new things that are coming up now are as whether or not you are actually plagiarizing yourself or not, because here's the reality. Remember, I just made the joke about the artist that would literally sit there and be on a live venue, booking himself for a live venue as an artist. Like, so because he did that and Sony owns the master record, it's actually okay if that person is given the permission, right? If the person is given permission, then it's one thing. If it's a person that has made the actual, if it's the artist that actually is doing it, they don't need the permission. So the real question is, where did this concept of plagiarizing yourself really come from? That's actually a very big topic that is out there as well. But in real life, copyright itself is basically the ownership from the direct owners, or you have to have permission, and then when you have permission, you have to credit them appropriately. They even tell you what you need to do, like this is your limitation and whatnot. And what they will do is their tour manager and all that, will actually do the publicity and everything and say, hey, so-and-so is going to be like blah, 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 doing this on such and such a day. That's usually what happens, okay? All you have to do is make the deal like, okay, hey, artist, do you want to do this, blah, blah, blah. And they say yes, and then they're going to tell you exactly what you can do for the as per that agreement. There's nothing wrong with that. So get used to that. If you are in this industry, where they're saying if you want to participate, this is how you're going to do this, and that. It is something normal that will happen. However, I have never heard of where I would have to tell the artist, ask yourself if you would like to sing at a venue that you already are trying to get into the venue for. It just doesn't make sense. So again, plagiarizing yourself, if it's fitting in with the copyright laws, I could see that being appropriate, but like something that you're writing doesn't make sense. You know, the only thing I could see that is a little bit troublesome, and this is where this whole record label thing comes in at. See, artists have to ask record labels to do specific things. But if you're independent and you own 100% of your rights, guess what? If you ask yourself, apparently you're going to say yeah. So I will tell you this much, probably an easy way to get around that would really, to be honest, you would say, as per a paper that I have written back in 1999 for the scientific answers of 3x 2x would equal this, I still agree that this would be the answer today. And then you would put in the bibliography, like your name and all the, send the paper that you got the information from. But you're basically paraphrasing that you still agree with what you wrote back in that other paper. You're not technically really saying anything. So, so yeah, that's why I was saying that sometimes those kind of things are a little bit touchy when it comes to colleges. Oh yeah, like when I step on toes, I make sure I do a little bit with everybody so that everybody gets a chance, because it is a true, very interesting topic to talk about when it comes to plagiarism and copyright. But 9 times out of 10, our focus is to be showing students what they should not be doing when it comes to copyright. I have noticed where some professors don't even mark off on someone actually using a picture. Now, if you use it as an exhibit, depending on if it's scientific class or if it's a math class, so if it's a law class, 9 times out of 10, you would use it as an exhibit. And then you would put it in a footnote where you got the actual exhibit from. And then you would use the bibliography of whatever book it came from. Right? But the footnote basically gives the note on what the exhibit is and why you had to use that exhibit. But there are some students that get away with it. Oh, here's a picture, see that I proved it, and then just go on to the next paragraph. We have to be very mindful when we are seeing these different things, folks, because it can be very challenging and troublesome, for sure. Wow, it is 9/11. No pun intended, right? I tell you what, tonight was a fun topic. I had fun tonight. I hope that you all did as well. If you hadn't had the chance to, please do it now if you'd like, or let's get to the 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, we're gonna hit the subscriptions tonight, right? Let's go ahead and do that. We're at the 900 mark now. We can get way up there here by the end of the night for sure. If you have not subscribed, though, let me explain to you why I actually convince you to subscribe. See, in our lives at night, okay, SLMTA at night, we are live on all of our platforms, but this is not the case everywhere. Okay. You want to be able to take the moment and be able to subscribe to our YouTube channel, so that if during the day when we have our big concerts and our talk shows or our special guests or different other activities that we are doing, that's where our virtual activities happen. They happen there at the YouTube channel. Okay. So subscribe at SL Models and Talent Agency LLC. It is the gold icon with the red ring around it. We do appreciate your help for sure, and we appreciate your support. If you are interested or you considering supporting, you can do so for as low as $5 a month at www.patreon.com/SLMTA. If you are interested in wanting to see SLMTA Twitch shows, we actually have a Twitch account, which is www.twitch.tv/SLMTA. We are also on Instagram, but we never go live there any longer, except for very few times. We are on Instagram at SLMTA_models. And then we are also on Twitter at SL Models. So there you go. That is what we have for you tonight. But yeah, if you are interested in wanting to help support us, you can do so simply for free of charge. Just subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the notifications bell, because it's going to be very, very important that you get all of the updates that we are going to have. None of our big concerts or virtual events, competitions, game shows, bingo nights, or any of that are going to be on Facebook. You're going to have a specific link, and it will be Zoom related, and you will also end up being live on YouTube. We may piece YouTube out a little bit to make like a marketing type thing, like a marketing video, but we're never going to go and say, okay, here's the video, boom, and then have you sit there watching on Facebook. So do understand that, and by the way, as the events continue to happen, I don't know how long SLMTA at night will actually stick around. We don't know. And to be honest, our focus is going to be on the upcoming event. So SLMTA at night may not be an every night thing, but that would be the only show that we would be showing as an interactive show that would basically be with Facebook. And if we are on Facebook, then you want to follow us at SL Models and Talent Agency LLC, Wyoming, Michigan, on Facebook. because that's probably where we would be reporting live, if at all, during our other interactive shows. Okay. The only reason that I'm doing this now is to basically trying to convince you guys to go ahead and subscribe, that it's happening. We're getting this stuff going. All right. At that point, once it becomes real, it's going to be up to you if you're going to miss it or not. I, you know, I can't tell you yes or no that you will. What I do know is that if you truthfully want to, if you truthfully really want to support SLMTA in a collaborative way, then it's not always about, hey, we have an event over here, come participate with us. And then when we have something over here, it's like you don't know that it's happening. It's almost acted out as if you don't know it's happening, or you're so afraid of the fact that SLMTA would literally take models from you, or something like that. I mean, I feel ashamed of that, but we have connections with much bigger agencies, and there is no fear of that. Why? Because we actually run in a non-exclusive manner. It doesn't really matter. Half of us got pretty much the same clients anyway. So I just find that to be very, very weird. I think that's an insecurity for some folks, but I don't have that insecurity, so I don't have to worry about it. I just basically tell them, okay, well, that's how you want to run your agency, that's fine. But when I start seeing that it's a one-way street, like it's about my events and you're going to pay into that, but then when it comes to SLMTA and there is no support there, that tells me it's a one-way street. It's not a real collaboration. It's just fast money in their pocket, and they thought that it was going to be a proven system. It didn't work with me. It did for a minute, but not all the time. Sorry to say it that way, but it is the truth. Now, if you want to collaborate appropriately, yeah, we will collaborate appropriately. But at this point, I'm not saying this that you have to validate, but at this point, you would have to prove to us that you mean business, that you mean to collaborate, because otherwise I'm just wasting time. Like, we are doing things without needing to waste hundreds and hundreds of dollars or thousands, or even, yeah, there's some investment involved. Like, we're starting to get some things in there where we're going to be taking some test photos and stuff, because we need to actually try to get them booked with something. But these selfies and these filtered photos are just not going to work, unfortunately. They're not going to work. I keep hearing it constantly with all kind of clients that selfies do not work. And I'm talking about real clients, okay? If you want to go to Gucci and be in one of their catalogs or something like that, then you better have something way better than a selfie or some filtered photo, okay? So that's basically bottom line, straightforward, no pun intended. I'm here to support y'all. Amen. I'll do that. But it can only go so far. I mean, we're not going to tell you what photographer you can do anything with. We've always been there and done that. We've told you that. The only difference is with SLMTA is that we have a Dreamers division now, which means that Dreamers division is basically networking, education, and exposure. That's basically what you get with that. Now, if you think that you don't need education because you're trying to get out of the cost of it, well, then good. I will actually tell you good luck looking for another agency that would accept you in the frame mind that basically you're inexperienced acting experience, because we can't work with fake pictures at all. We cannot do that. And we cannot work with you not being able to audition. We got folks that I'm talking to right now about an audition coming up for this Saturday. If it happens, it happens. I'm not going to tell them, well, you know, this, or this. They know that it would be up to them to do it. And how good they want to do it is going to determine how well they actually plan it out before they do their audition. But I cannot sit here and illustrate the audition or whatnot. It's gotta, you know, you're gonna have to know the audition steps. And if you don't know the audition steps to success, then maybe you need a trainer. That just tells you right there that you're gonna need to have some training. And it's okay to be wrong. If you think that you got what it takes, then good. This is your chance now to prove that you have what it takes. So if you don't have what it takes, and then you're also realizing that yourself, see, we actually have both that are coming in to SL Models and Talent Agency. We have models that will in the beginning say, oh, I know how to do this. I know how to do that. I know everything about this and that. But then when I go and tell them, all right, here you go, do that. So like, oh God, what is all that? And then when they go to do the audition, when I tell them to go do the audition anyway, they start realizing, thank God you got training. Boy, am I going to need it. And there's some of those that will pretend like they know everything and will blame it on you because they didn't get a part, because they think that they're so beautiful, sexy, and everything else, so they should have been able to get a part. There are people like that. Oh, yeah. Extremely challenging to work with. But what I do in that case, when that position comes up, I basically tell them, think about it and then come back to us. Why do we say that? Because A, we don't want them to be forced into something that they don't want to do. They're obviously not going to pay for the training, and they're already sitting there coming up with the excuses. So I'd rather just end the free for all right then and there. You know what I mean? And then keep it rolling, because the only way but at the same time, SLMTA also needs to make income within its agency to keep it afloat. And therefore, there are some things that we would be doing alongside that will be beneficial to both the experienced model and artist and the inexperienced model and artist. So it really just depends on what you want to do and how we're doing it. Like, this is one of the ways that I'm doing things to help that would actually bring good exposure, you know. And it's going to get a lot better than what it is right now. I'm literally saying this constantly because it's going to come a time where you're going to be surprised and you're going to be like, oh, wow. So you're not going to know when that is. It's going to be the time that you will not hear me say it, and everything is going to just be flat out changed. But in any case, right now, I am pretty much going to end it for tonight. If you have any questions at all about any of the topics that we have discussed today or during the prime time shows as well, you can enter them into the comment section down below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them in the next video, which will be on Thursday afternoon. Tomorrow, we have a lot of bookings and audition, so we are going to be busy all the way up until nearly midnight. And I do not plan, because I did that before, I do not plan to be sitting up past midnight, sitting on a computer doing a live. So we're just gonna push it off to Thursday at this point. And then we're gonna do a special Easter edition, like music thing. And hopefully I won't get in trouble. I'm gonna try to see if I can find a non-copyright like Easter music, like church thing or whatnot for Good Friday, because I think that that is something that we could enjoy. Whatever that is flying around me. It's something that we could enjoy then. And then I'm going to be off on the weekend. That's what the plan is. I will actually be off on the weekend for Easter weekend. There's not much to really discuss, and I'm going to take a break because of the fact being that I'm going to be focused on the auditions that are coming up for Saturday anyway. So for the most part, until that is all done, and then Easter Sunday is this Sunday, I'm hoping that we could get some very, very good results for sure. And if I'm asking you to go and do an audition, folks, do not be shy about it. Unless, of course, there are some agencies out there where I would have loved to see them actually fulfill some of these. But I was hearing things before that shied me away from even asking. Because when I hear things like my models will not sign with your agency, or you're going to have to pay 20% and all this, it's like, well, first of all, SLMTA has gutted the agency fee period. Okay, because of the ANPA, it's going to be part of a thing that's going to happen. If you're not part of ANPA, basically what it would be is you could still run your agency like you want to, but you would be red flag. In other words, most people will, you probably are going to be coming up against at this point, it would be a real true competition, not a collaboration, because there's really nothing that we could do about it at that point if you run your business in that way. See, we collaborate with everyone. I can go to Ford and be like, hey, I need a model, or I need this for that role, or what have you. And then they could work with me. And it doesn't even have to be anything really. It's just that they have someone that actually fits the role that they're looking for, or what they're communicating to see that they can bring to the table. They just happy, that I'm actually able to provide something with one of our clients. So we work together. It could be vice versa. They might need someone with long hair, and I got someone with long hair, So again, I don't have these issues with major agencies. I have these issues mainly with local agencies that claim that they have proven systems that technically go nowhere, except their basic system that they have already developed. And it's sad for me to say that, a real agency, and this is what we're aiming for, a real agency will still actually have their top model, superstar model, still with their agency. And when I say that, even if it's non-exclusive, they would still be with them as a part of the representation team. Why? Because that is the place where they started, but also where they are still continuing to get the work. But if they're not getting the work, then these other agencies are like, oh, you're going to continue to waste time, because that's how they negotiate. I hate to say it that way, and that's how I'm talking right now. If you're going to waste time with an agency that's just going to sit there and tell you, hey, read this book, take this photo, but you're not actually getting any work. And I love these ones, unless it's actually true. I love these ones where the agencies will say, well, we got all these job orders, but nobody's actually doing anything. Well, no, that's not actually the truth. And the reason I'm going to say that is because SLMTA has some clients that are looking for specific things, and SLMTA may not quite have them right now. So then I would go and ask other agencies at that point if they have them, and then see if they would like to audition for the part. That's basically how I do things. But some agencies will blame it on the models and say, well, you're not actually like trying to do anything, to make it look like they have all these people on a roster, and then just sit there and throw the blame on somebody else, like, yeah, you didn't do that, so that's why that didn't happen. But that's not how I do things. We know why it didn't happen, and that is because, like, for example, I might have 5 people on my roster where the client says, yeah, they could fit, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to actually pick that person. It just, they may fit, and then if they choose that person specifically in the long run, then yeah, they may have a better chance of getting in there or whatnot. But that's why I tell you, do your best. It is you that needs to do your best. But at the same time, if you still don't get chosen, it's not that the agency's doing anything wrong. And it may not even be that you're doing anything wrong. It just could be that you were it up to a certain point. And you don't want to do anything that will make a mistake either. Like, you don't want to sit there and send photos and then all of a sudden send photos that were like when you were 16 years old. You need to be consistent. When we're saying that you're playing a specific role, you don't want to send a 16-year-old age photos. You want to be able to send the photos that are being asked. Okay. So you want to be careful and focus in a little bit on the auditions. Some clients are a little bit easier to work with, but other clients will either look at that and flat out laugh, or they're just gonna say, they might have said, hey, that they had a part, but until this happened, well, that shot them out. And believe me, it does happen. Those things do happen. So you need to be able to focus on you, on how you're going to do the audition. Do not pretend to be something that you are not, unless, of course, you can really act it out and you could show that you could be a 16-year-old, and that's one thing. Modeling on one level, if they're asking for a 16-year-old, you have to be 16. If you look like a 16-year-old, they're not gonna do it. And the reason for that is because even if you look like you're 16 years old, you still probably don't fit the actual bill to that particular advertising agency, especially if they're looking for a specific like petite model, couture model, whatever the case may be. Well, you may look like you're 16, but you could be looking like you're 16 overweight. I mean, who knows? You know, nothing wrong with that. Okay, don't get me wrong. All right, that's why we have different ages and different like curvy, plus size, and that kind of thing. Trendsetters is actually another big topic for the modeling world today. There are so many things happening because unfortunately with America, the truth of the matter is we are getting bigger, not thinner. So until we get thinner, that's all that can happen. And unless the folks from Paris can actually come to America successfully, unfortunately, if that starts to happen, we might be running the mill of some very, very high, what I call intellectual competition then. Because SLMTA, I mean, we got a compilation of about 150 supermodels that could literally be signed with us when Ashraf Tausi comes here, but they're all related to Germany, France, like in the European Union. And a lot of those individuals already work with big agencies like Ford and them anyway. So to work with SLMTA is just an added bonus for them. So they're doing it in a way as a non-exclusive contract, which is why we can keep people longer than 6 months to a year. Because in their eyes, they look at it as, okay, so I could do the training here, but I can go over there. Now, if they do get booked, there is a clause in there that says that the agent does get paid 10%, the mother agency that is, but that gets paid to the agency based off of their work from other agencies. But otherwise, union, it would be 10%, non-union is 15%, straight from SLMTA. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good ordeal, and most models understand it, and they like that variety. They like that idea of being able to work with different agencies instead of being stuck with one. And you probably don't want to be stuck with one when it comes to modeling anyway. So that's why I said some of these local agencies either need to change what they're doing, or you know, at some point, you know, somebody's going to have to call them out by name. See, I'm calling these type of companies out, but I'm not calling them out by name, and I know quite a few of them. Okay. I'm not going to call them out by name. But if you run your business like that, it's like, it's no wonder why you may have like, you know, this model or that model, and then 6 months later they're just disappearing or dropping off the face of the earth. You know, and sometimes the local ones that, and that is true. There might be some that all they want to do is stay local. That's fine too. You know, if you want to stay local, then SLMTA may not be for you. Okay, if that's the case. If you want to try to become national, SLMTA is for you. If you want to become international, SLMTA is definitely then for you. Because there is no way that you can actually say that you have connections with international agencies unless you have the right capabilities of it. We're not talking about you know a name and the person came and visit. Okay, believe me, I know the difference when you're putting a show on and when you actually have a connection on an international ground. like SLMTA, when we are working together, okay, with specific agencies, we're not just drawing up names out of the flag and saying, oh, this is the one that we're with. Okay. But at the same time, we're not going to talk too much about it because in France is lockdown. So if you're going to try to tell me right now that you're doing things and your people are in France and all that, I'm going to tell you that you're actually full of crap because France is in a lockdown and there have been major changes out there in France too as to how agencies are running. So, you know, and I would be able to actually figure out whether or not there is a connection, because some of these places that are saying that they have connections to France, oh, believe me, some of them are right down the road from me. Oh, in Paris. And I'll go look at every agency in Paris because in the European Union, you actually have to list the agencies up. Okay, if you are going to claim that you're in the European Union, you actually have to be licensed in the Union to even be able to do business there, even if you're going to bring a model to another agency. Oh yeah, people don't realize what I know when it comes to those situations. Now you'll get the fluky ones. Don't get me wrong. You will get fluky ones that'll sit there and swear up and down to you by the grace of God, so that they will sit there and actually tell you that all this that I'm talking about actually doesn't make any sense. And that you basically could go here and you could go there, you could do this like this and this and that. Let me tell you something, how hard it is to get a student from America to actually go and just do an internship overseas. If you think that's bad, try getting a distinctive model to your agency in America. Okay, there's a lot of things that you actually have to prove. You can't just say, oh, you want to be a model? Okay, come on. Oh, no. It don't work that way, man. I just said a half hour ago that I wanted to be done, and here I am talking about something totally different, way off the chart. Always. That's where my mind goes sometimes, a typical Gemini that I am. But this is actually very important though, and I don't want to actually stop right here either, because this is actually very important. I'm going to slow it down because I do have to get some sleep because I got to get up earlier. Here's some of the things I'm going to tell you. Okay. In order to get an O visa or a P visa, you actually have to be a distinctive model. So if some agency is going to tell me, oh, I got a model coming from France, and they are the top model number one, this, and that. So all I got to do is go right to the registration. There's a, because they have to be recorded, okay? From the agencies, they know what they're doing. And these distinctive supermodel-like model, they are in these different catalogs, print magazines, doing interviews, everything. They're not just some name that pops up anywhere just because you happen to know some random other person that said, oh, by the way, here's the top number one this. Really? A top of what? Because I didn't know him until I knew you. You know what I mean? So you would actually have to figure out if they are distinctive, and the way that you figure out that they are distinctive is actually take their names. It doesn't even matter if it's a stage name. You take their name and you will find out information. So if you're going to say that they're a supermodel, you're going to have everything right about what a supermodel is. Because on an international level, like Ashraf Talsi, India knows him, European countries know him, UK knows him, Tokyo knows him, China knows him, Brazil knows him. Almost everybody except America knows Ashraf Talsi. I'm using him as an example. All right. But I'd have to prove him to you guys so that you guys know that he is what he is. But you can find him in all different areas of different places in the internet, of different magazines that he's been in, different photo shoots that he's been in, this and that. Okay. So, and they cannot just be some random made up magazine either, like a Joe Schmo magazine of fashion. Okay. And there it is, there's some picture there of that person. No, that doesn't work. They actually have to be in the magazine of Vogue. And I'm sure I probably said it wrong with my cultural tongue. Ella, Bazaar, places like that. Like that's it. If you're seeing them in those magazines, and it's not just a picture either, it's actually information in it as well. I also know what's hat fast and what's not too. Like hat fast would be like, hey, you could put yourself, we're going to put you on an online print thing, right? Okay, well, let's see what that looks like. Well, it could literally look like my old SLMTA account on Facebook, which is basically like a basic logo. Well, it would be like a picture. You might have gotten your makeup or whatever done, but you're going to have a picture there, and then there's going to be some words. The real question is, what will the words say? Is it going to say, oh, you're the #1 of a competition, or are you actually going to say that they were #1 in some kind of a magazine that they actually did a picture in? Are you going to actually showcase them as, here's further proof of why they're #1 here in this competition? See, they were #1 over here. They were #1 over there. They were #1 on this. They were in this magazine. They were in this photo shoot. They were with this person, this photographer. They were with this production, right? You're almost like it's a press release at this point. Like you're saying they're #1, what proof to back it up? Yes, that's a big deal when you're saying #1. Okay, you're saying that person's #1, then you're going to have a whole ton of #1 ready to be shown on that paper, on that press release. Like, what makes that person #1? That one competition? And if so, what else did that person do? See, I know how to dress things up too. But I also want to be sure that the artist and the model is able to actually express what they want as well. So if the model and the artist was telling me one thing, but I thought another thing, but then this competition turned out to prove me wrong, all right, then I'm good with that. So then I could basically put in the information that I thought was wrong and actually put it in the press release, because is actually proving me wrong, but at the same time, I can't argue that that didn't happen if actually what he or she is saying is correct. So the reality is your resume needs to be consistent with your bio. But if all you have is I've been in this contest and that contest, and it was all agency related, and you hadn't really been in a job, then the way that you want to put the press release to dress it up nice is, besides saying, oh, they were #1 in this contest or #1 in that contest, so you want to say that this is a training facility agency, a training agency where this student has participated and became #1 in this, and this. But if you're saying it as if like he was in like Honolulu and LA and Miami and this and that, and have never even been in any of those places, so you're just putting a show on. And in the end of the day, you're basically getting people laughing at you. That's what you're doing. See, last year, I was literally in Miami with my friend, colleague, etc., Iris. And we were doing our own types of photo shoots in the Miami area, so-called. Well, this year, our plan is to reenact the Miami photo shoot with an actual photographer. Last year, we were dealing with COVID too, so not many people, you know, I was trying to do a surprise and it didn't turn out the way that I wanted. And then there was some other things that were happening that I won't even get into. But anyway, it was a nice week in Miami when I was there that week. And we ended up doing our own photo shoot type thing. And it was excellent. Actually, I believe it was her daughter that actually took the photos of us. So she knows what she's doing. I would have to say a little bit more training or whatnot, but for the most part, she knows how to get people to pose in a specific way to make that photo look great. Is she Hollywood wannabe star regulated? No, I didn't say any of that. But again, it still made us look like we had the photo shoot. And when I expressed photo shoot, everybody was so excited and was sitting there liking it and all this stuff, but it was an actual photo shoot. It just was done by her daughter, photo shooting us at various different places within Miami when we were there. So you need to understand how you're advertising things without trying to overestimate. But, you know, that's actually putting it lightly, because that would be agencies that are innocently making a mistake, okay? The real agencies out there that are local, that are basically sitting there, and local is no pun intended. If you're Spanish, you probably know what local means too. But in other words, if you're in a local area, is what I'm really trying to say. You know, then you're basically like, you have to figure out a way how you can express what your agency is doing. And that is understandable. But sometimes I wonder if it's actually just putting you out there too much far. Some of you guys are actually putting an act and a show on. And the act and the show doesn't go too well with SLMTA. However, that doesn't mean that we cannot work with these pro models. I got to put that in quotes, because the fact is, A pro model to SLMTA is the experience of what they are actually getting in the real world. That's all I'm basically trying to say. And no, it's not just a SLMTA thing. Believe me when I say it. There are other agencies out there that are national and or international that are saying that pro models are models that have experience. They're not supermodel, but they're not supermodel, but they're model enough to basically showcase experience. And I agree. And that's why I came up with those terms for SL models and talent agency, because I was told we have to be careful of what models we're accepting if we're a national, which is true. See, when I first started the business, before I got involved with anybody, any of the new friends that I have now, any of the people that I've met in Michigan and all of this stuff, the one thing that I have learned is that I had to be careful. I had to know, first of all, what my niche was. Okay. Then I had to figure out from there what the purpose of that niche is going to be. Now, at one point, I was thinking about specializing. I was all over the place for about a year before I even started in December, or what was it, October, November of 2019. And then, you know, Christy, my good friend from New Jersey, actually, we were talking back and forth, like we were at libraries researching stuff left and right and everything else that was going on there. And we were talking about, like, we could do this, we could do that. And then it just boiled down to, well, we are an all-inclusive to everything. And it doesn't make sense to shy away from not one thing over another. And that is true. Now, for some other folks, they were saying, you're starting too big too quick. But then I'm sitting there like, if I just specialize, then I'd still be where I was last year at this time of the year, still there today. Because to be honest, it's kind of hard, because some of the folks that I actually have, even from Brazil, even from the Dominican Republic and all that, some of these folks should be a model. They don't actually have the experience. They actually look like they could be the perfect model, but they're going to need a training. And therefore, I asked them, do they have their travel papers, not for America, but for any place, to where they're not just stuck in one place. Because, like, okay, for example, Venezuela, as you all know, is a very poor country. But there are hundreds of beautiful models there, hundreds of them. And you can't get any of them to actually model anywhere unless they actually can get the papers. And that's another problem that they're facing there. But they would have to get the papers to at least get to Peru, Colombia, or Brazil. Okay. And there are modeling agencies there. How do I know that? Well, I've been researching just simple things like Next, Elite, Bohemia, in the South American region, because they're big there. And I'm not trying to be an SLMTA to own everybody. So I was like, I figured if they signed as an international artisan or model with SLMTA, I could still expose them out to some place like Bohemia. Maybe they might be able to do something that they didn't know that they could do living in a place like Venezuela. and it would still give them a chance. See, that's what I'm talking about when I say having the connections on an international level and being able to build big brands. I don't know what had happened with some of the specific people that I was speaking with in that region, but I could tell you this, that I have a lot of folks, both male and female, that could literally, like, if you see the friends list, saying, yeah, if you're hearing me right now and you're on live and you're listening to me right now, you should be messaging me. Because the only reason that I would have actually added any of you guys is because I see a potential in you. It doesn't mean that you have to be a model. I'm not saying you have to be a model, but you could be an actor. Some of you are actually musicians. Come on now. Yeah, I'm talking about you. You know who I'm talking about with the guitar and all that. Come on out here and let's play some guitar. I'm so bad. The point is, it goes right on back to the whole other thing that I talked about. Stop with the excuses and get off your butt and get something going. Because you ain't going to let it, it's not going to fall on your lap. You're going to have to go out there and chase for it. All right. Until then, comment in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a blessed evening.